Hey everyone, here's what's coming up tonight on Now. We're answering more of your questions about the dozens of asylum seekers arriving in Portland.
Plus, new child seat safety laws in Maine and what that means for some parents and some kiddos.
Also tonight, how many of you actually use cash these days? You probably don't too often, right? Pretty soon we might not even need these anymore. Why? Well, because we'll all be using Facebook's new currency. I'll tell you all about it coming up. This is News Center Now.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us on this Tuesday night. I'm Lindsay Mills.
And I'm Lee Nelson. In the news this evening, more than a dozen new people seeking asylum arrived in Portland just since last night, making the new grand total 230 since last week. As more families seeking asylum pack into the Portland Expo, a lot of you at home are flooding our inboxes with questions.
Absolutely. Tonight, our Samantha York is back to answer a few more of them. Hey, Sam.
Hey guys, yeah, it's been almost impossible to keep up with the number of questions, concerns, and comments that have come in from people around the state. But today we wanted to break down how these individuals got from those African countries to the U.S., if these asylum seekers qualify for general assistance, and what does it mean if the families coming to Portland aren't paroled? Here's what we found. As more families seeking asylum try to get comfortable at the Portland Expo's makeshift shelter, we're getting answers to your questions at home.
I've been doing immigration law for 30 plus years.
Beth Stickney is the executive director of the Maine Business Immigration Coalition. She answered a few of your questions by phone Monday. The first being, what does it mean if these asylum seekers are not paroled?
To an immigration lawyer, what that means is they entered without inspection. That's all it means. They did not go through a border post. They didn't go through Logan Airport. They didn't go through a land border post. That's all it means. They have been allowed into the country to apply for asylum or release in front of the immigration judge. And they just came in different ways. Each of them has the exact same right to apply for asylum in front of an immigration judge.
Those seeking asylum who are not paroled are not eligible for general assistance, which is putting a huge strain on Portland's financial resources. But Stickney argues Maine statute says otherwise.
The general assistance eligibility criteria under the state statute says that somebody who is lawfully present is eligible. So in my opinion, every single one of them is eligible right now for state reimbursed general assistance.
The last big question, how are these families getting here all the way from Africa without any form of identification or money? While some have family in the U.S. who can lend a hand, Stickney says other times it's complicated.
When you need to get out and you're desperate, you find a way. Though they may not have passports on them now, that does not mean that they didn't have some sort of documentation on them when they left their country. Along the way, they could have had their passport taken from them by the the smugglers that help people move north. There have been situations where the essentially smugglers travel with them on the plane, and once they get to the destination, the smuggler takes the passport back to reuse it for another person that they're going to be smuggling.
Now, if you at home have more questions, please feel free to email them to us or use the hashtag AskNow on social media. We're still waiting on answers from city leaders in Portland about the total cost, as well as how and if the state will be providing any assistance. We'll be talking much more about this tonight at 5:30. Guys, back to you.
Good. Thank you, Sam. Answered some of mine, for sure. All right, want to talk about the weather?
Yes. I mean, really, it wasn't too terrible out there today, Keith.
No, and
low bar.
And Lee already kind of knows that a lot of the state was sunny today, so it was really southern and southern coastal Maine that was cloudy. In fact, there's the cloud shield right there, and it's sweeping offshore. Portland and a lot of locations here will get a couple of hours of sunshine. It's kind of late in the game, but the sunset is extremely late. approaching its latest, of course, as we head into Friday, the first day of summer. Visible satellite showing you a couple of cumulus puffy clouds over northern Maine. That's where they saw more sun. Temperatures responded. And meanwhile, to our south, down across Massachusetts, are all the showers that we were concerned about last week. I thought today would be a showery day originally when I looked at it, say, Thursday of last week. But the good news is everything had trended south. And so we dodged all of those showers. Current temperatures 73 in Bangor, 76 in Caribou is the leader, so to speak. And you can see that cloud cover and the marine layer temperatures in the mid 60s to around 70. It's not uncomfortable though, even where it's cloudy. Tonight, fog bank rolls in pretty thick, and it's probably there through the first couple of hours at least. Tomorrow is perhaps as far inland as Lewiston and Augusta, that fog bank. We get rid of the fog in the afternoon, then we try to get a little convective here in the mountains with showers and thunderstorms. This is popping up a couple of stronger ones tomorrow afternoon in the high terrain, so we'll keep an eye on that. Guys, unsettled again on Thursday and at least the first half of Friday, but things look to clear out just in the nick of time for weekends.
Good news
Perfect.
there.
Perfect.
Perfect timing, Keith. Thanks. Checking out the headlines today now. No arrests in a Bangor shooting that happened along Union Street today. 2 people were injured. It happened around 11:45 this morning near Sprague's Nursery and Garden Center. Both victims have been taken to the hospital. Police are still investigating, and we will have much more on this story throughout the next 90 minutes here on News Center Maine.
As he prepares to formally announce his re-election campaign, President Trump is threatening to remove millions of people who are living in the United States illegally. In a pair of tweets that are likely to energize his base, he is warning that the action will begin next week. U.S. officials say immigration officers, though, were not aware that Mr. Trump would publicize what they call sensitive law enforcement plans.
How about this? 33,000 pounds of cocaine seized today at a Philadelphia shipping yard. The shipping containers full of those illegal drugs valued over $1 billion were seized by federal authorities. The ship, called the MSC Guyan, had previously traveled from Chile, Panama, and the Bahamas. Investigators believe the ship was loaded with drugs after it left its last port of call in the Bahamas. Well, John Williams has been found guilty of murder after deliberations for less than 4 hours. A jury came back this afternoon with a verdict.
Williams shot and killed Somerset County Deputy Eugene Cole in April of last year. Shannon Moss, as you know, has been following this trial right from the start. She was there today when the verdict was read. She's here with us right now. Hey, Shannon.
Hey, Lee and Lindsay. Yet you know that this was never about whether John Williams was guilty of killing Corporal Cole. Both the prosecution and the defense agreed on this all along. The question from the beginning was, did Williams, who was in the throes of drug addiction, intend to kill Corporal Cole? This morning started with closing arguments. Prosecution pointed to scientific witness testimony and Williams' own confession to police that he knowingly and intentionally shot and killed Corporal Cole because he didn't want to go back to jail. The defense asked the jury to remember Williams' excessive drug use at the time and to consider there was no way Williams could have intentionally killed Corporal Cole. After closing arguments, the case was handed to the jury. It took less than 4 hours to reach a verdict.
And Shannon, this is something that you've been covering extensively the last week and more.
Yes.
Did you see if how he reacted when the verdict was read?
Yes, interestingly enough, the same way that he reacted through the entire trial. Very stoic, straight ahead, didn't gesture, didn't move a lot. So it was pretty much the same when the verdict was read.
How about Corporal Cole's family?
Yeah, same thing. Not a lot of emotion through the trial, except for a few points when pictures were shown of Corporal Cole's body. Obviously, that was very difficult for the family, for everybody, really, including the jurors. But when that verdict was read, relief. You could see just their shoulders drop.
And when this verdict came down late this afternoon, I know you had mentioned live on our air that you weren't sure what was going to happen next, when that sentencing would be scheduled. Do we know any more at this point?
A little bit. We know that the sentencing should be probably September. There's a couple months, a few things that they need to do. I know that the prosecution, is going to ask the judge for life. Now, life in Maine does not come with probation or parole. So if Williams is sentenced to life, that's it. He's 30 years old, and he'll spend the rest of his life behind bars. Now, as for Vern Parody, Williams' defense attorney, the minimum he can ask for is 25 years. So he's asking for at least 25 years or something close to that. He also said that he will be appealing. And we talked about that before on grounds of that reenactment that the state did, that compelling demonstration that showed how the state feels that Corporal Cole was killed execution style. Mr. Parody tried to get that out of court. The judge allowed it, and he says he'll use that as grounds to appeal.
All right. It's been interesting.
Indeed.
Certainly. All right. Shannon, thank you so much.
You bet.
One quick story before a break, too. Another study revealing a lot of healthcare employees are working while they are sick.
Researchers followed 2,700 employees who worked at 9 Canadian hospitals. They were asked to fill out daily online illness diaries whenever they came down with symptoms of the flu, colds, or other respiratory diseases. 95% have worked while sick, mainly because the symptoms were mild or had started while they were at work. Most of the employees say they were entitled to paid sick leave. Most doctors will tell you stay home if you can because you risk infecting others.
Right. All right. Facebook is getting into currency. We'll learn more about the tech giant branching out once again.
We're buzzing about this one today. And for the first time in about a decade, changes to Maine's child seat safety laws. What parents need to know tonight when we come back.
So there was some pretty big news from Facebook today.
The tech giant says it will soon roll out a new digital currency for consumers to use worldwide. It's called Libra, and it's expected to launch in the next 6 to 12 months. Facebook already has more than 24 companies signed up to govern the use of Libra, including Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal. Consumers will be able to use their phones to transfer Libra to friends, shop online, or pay at their local store. And the currency will be backed by real money. Facebook will also have a new digital wallet that will be available in Messenger, WhatsApp, or in a standalone app. The goal is to make sending money around the world just as easy as sending a picture, which could be dangerous maybe. This is going to be dangerous for me if it pans out.
Oh, yeah.
Domino's Pizza is testing a new type of delivery.
Yeah, and as you probably guessed, it is a self-driving vehicle. Domino's is teaming up with robotics company Nuro, and they plan to roll out this later in the year, first in Houston. Nuro's driverless vehicle is called the R2, and they say it can really deliver everything, food, dry cleaning, you name it. Customers who place their orders online can track the vehicle via Domino's app, and they can get their hands on their pizza with a PIN code that will unlock a compartment in the car. Will these replace human delivery drivers? Not at first. Domino's says the R2 would be a great extra delivery option during peak times, though. And while we are on the topic of delivering food, let's talk Dunkin's.
Yes, they also have a new option for people craving donuts and coffee, but if you can't leave your office, they have the solution. Dunkin's is rolling out its new delivery program with the help of Grubhub. First, it will just be in New York City, with plans to expand to Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, and maybe other cities after that. Grubhub controls 27% of the U.S. delivery market, and it is available in Maine.
Awesome. All right. We got a quick break?
Yes.
Then we got more coming up.
All right, let's check in on that forecast. True, very true.
So it's a day that I remember very well, and I know first-time parents all remember this. Your wife has the baby, you bundle up the baby, you go down to the car to drive home for the first time, and you put the baby in the car seat, kind of, sort of. It's kind of a scary moment a little bit.
And then you drive 5 miles per hour home in like a 50 mile per hour zone. Yeah. Right. The experience can be white knuckle inducing, but it's something that parents think about from that day forward up until their kids are 11 or even 12 years old. But now there are changes to Maine's child car seat safety laws, the first time in about a decade.
6-year-old Silas Twombly is used to getting ready to go. He hops in his booster seat, buckles in, and they're ready to ride. But Silas' routine is about to change. He weighs just over 48 pounds, and under new child safety seat laws signed by the governor, he's now required to use a seat with a harness until he weighs 55 pounds. The new rules also require a child to be secured in a rear-facing seat until the age of 2.
Most parents want to do the best they can for their kids.
Corey Peralta has been a child passenger safety instructor for more than 20 years.
Most crashes are frontal crashes, so everything that's crash tested is designed in that way. So when you're rear-facing, you're cradled,
taking the crash force away from the baby or toddler's body.
It's better for all of us to ride rear-facing, but that is totally not doable. So if we can at least keep the little guys rear-facing longer, that's what we're hoping for.
As for this kindergarten graduate, he graduated to his booster seat a while ago, but now he'll have to get used to riding with a harness seatbelt.
By having those higher weight limits and requirements, the parents are going to do a better job protecting their kids in their vehicles.
Oh, that smile, so cute. I also asked Corey Peralta about the biggest car seat mistake that parents make, and she said oftentimes she sees parents are installing the car seats too loose, attached to the actual seat of the car. So there are free safety checks that happen statewide, and it just so happens there's one happening this weekend in Bangor, and we have more info about that at our website.
You know, those are great. I will say I've installed 4 seats in the last year because my mom wanted one. Here's the only trick I learned, and people at home probably know this. You gotta get on the seat, the car seat itself, your body,
and push it down,
push it into the seat, and then pull. Because you can pull as hard as you want, but if you don't get any pressure into the seat, it's still too wiggly. So the key is compressing the seat, and then you pull.
There you go.
So,
and you are volunteering to do this for people.
So safety check outside One Congress Square at any given time. Yeah, it's
Oh my gosh.
You guys are doing all the baby stories now that you're having.
100%.
How I knew you guys were pregnant before you announced it. Clay did a story on daycare, and I was like, no man, how old is Clay? No man of that age
Hint number 1.
does a story on babies unless he's having a baby. And then we knew. And then you announced it later, and we're like, yeah, okay. All right, here's a look at the visible satellite. We've got some clouds along the coastline just clearing out for a couple of hours of nice weather in areas that were cloudy through much of today, just before sunset. Some showers down across southern New England. That's where all the heavy stuff, and really all the showers have been. It stopped right at the Massachusetts-New Hampshire border in Stowe. The rest of us will dry today, and a lot of us will stay dry tomorrow as well. Current temperatures, 70s, Caribou the winner at 76, 75 in Millinocket, obviously reflecting the amount of sunshine they've seen over northern Maine as compared to coastal and southern Maine. Hour-by-hour forecast tonight is partly cloudy, but watch this. That's a fog bank, so definitely coming on shore with fog, maybe even some mist. Tomorrow morning, anywhere near the coastline and all the way into Augusta is going to be foggy and cloudy. Should be able to burn that off, though, by the middle of the day. Then we get a couple of thunderstorms trying to pop up in the mountains. So it'll be kind of a weird day, a transition day with just a little bit of sun, then some thunderstorms come through. They stay in the high terrain. And then Thursday is similar. It's mostly cloudy, a little bit of fog in the morning, and then it gets wet probably Thursday night and into Friday. That Friday system looks like it has some decent teeth through the first half of the day on Friday. But we'll clear out for Friday afternoon, and then for the weekend, we're in pretty good shape. It's not perfect. There'll be some mountain showers on Saturday, but the coastline will be nice through Saturday afternoon, and really anything but the mountains. And then Sunday looks good statewide. Monday looks pretty good as well, and we start to try to build a little warmth, at least for a couple of days. I can't guarantee how long it lasts, but we start to kind of ramp up a bit here Monday and Tuesday with some low to mid 80s, and that's about as warm as we've been. National Weather Service had a great tweet, and I should have gotten the exact stats of it, but it was something like, this is the fewest 80-degree plus days Portland has had in, it's very rarefied air. Like, we've only had it once, but it was kind of like a bottom 10 thing. You know, not top 10, bottom 10 kind of deal. And I would say that's true. That being said, if we continue to ride forward with the weekends that we've been having, the perception, I think, will be still positive.
Sure,
so,
that's what matters.
It's like we talked about hurricanes. You can have 15, you only need one to hit land for people to remember. It's
it was a terrible hurricane season. You had one really bad one. Yeah, it's true. All right, Keith, interesting. Thank you very much.
All right, we have a great That's So Maine today from our own Hannah Deneen. She saw this at the UPS store in Bangor, a large taxidermied moose. I don't think it's the entire moose, I think it's just like part of it. Someone's shipping that out. Let's hope it makes it there in one piece, because I'm sure a lot of time and effort went into creating that.
Absolutely. All right, and this too, it is it a pool party? Is it a nacho party? Check it out. This is in Texas, a kiddie pool. Is it coming? There it is, filled with nachos. For the sake of everyone eating some. Hopefully there were no swimmers in the pool before. According to the website Insider, this was for a house party. Probably the most nachos you've ever seen in one place, right? The question is, would you dive into this? I mean, and by diving in, I mean eat some. Or dive in.
Yeah,
you know?
right? I don't know. I think I'd go for it. Why not? As long as the pool was clean before.
Right.
Sanitized.
Right. And how would you check that?
Yeah, right. There's no way of knowing. Maybe less is more in terms of the information there.
Yes, probably so. All right, let's get some information from Cindy, who's going to tell us what's coming up at 5:30. Hey, Cindy.
Hey guys, you know vandalism is such a stupid crime, right? Well, the town of Carmel is pretty angry over what someone, or probably likely a bunch of people, did to the town's recreation area. It's an area where people are supposed to come have fun. Now they're all coming to help clean it up. Choosing a color of paint for your house can be a really hard decision. So one family in Bangor has decided to let their neighbors weigh in on this, and they've already gotten 500 responses. Sounds like it might be an even harder decision now to me. But anyway, back to you. We'll see you at 5:30.
It's very interesting. They're the ones who have to drive by it and look at it. And
it's very considerate.
Yeah, it is.
Those are good neighbors.
Yeah, interesting. All right, very good. All right, quick break. We got more coming up.
Yes, raindrops when we come back.
All right, today's
Or
Brain
do you think
Drops
it's
is visual? This is something that's popular in the scientific community right now. These are warming stripes from 1850 to 2018. They represent the anomalies by year, and so obviously you're visually just seeing how our planet is warming. This site's cool, Show Your Stripes, because you can go actually to North America and then navigate to the United States. Then you can choose Maine, and it will show Maine's warming stripes. So they all look a little different. They all have the same theme though. Maine, what I noticed, picks up pretty well on the hot spike in the 1930s. There was a Dust Bowl era. It was a relatively warm period of time in the US, and then we just start trending up obviously into oblivion as to where we're going right now. But this you'll see on some TV meteorologists wear ties that are these warming stripes.
And that's what it is?
Yeah, it's this kind of subtle messaging to remind people about climate change. They make them in shoes and everything.
I swear I have a dog leash that looks just like this.
Yeah, this you might be carrying around science messaging without knowing it. What a scary thought that is, huh?
This is cool.
Yeah.
And not the warming part.
Right, but the visual. I get it. Yeah.
Very cool. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now.